Hi, my name is Sonya Amrita, and I'm spontaneously putting together these 3 videos for you that are about authority and power and your relationship with awakening teachers. In this first of the 3 videos, what I want to talk about is how awakening teachers are imperfect. Very imperfect. So let's talk about the different pieces and parts. I probably could use, 5 hours to talk on this topic, but I'll take a few minutes. So the first thing that I want to be very clear is that I'm busting this illusion that once someone awakens, that somehow makes them a perfect human being. Just not true. We're still human. We can be new human beings. We can operate in the world in very different ways. We can have a very different relationship to our stuff, right? Rather than identifying with emotions or challenges, we see it for what it is. We move through it faster. Because of the way we move through it faster, that might give someone the illusion that we're perfect. Oh, good Lord, no. And in fact, every one of us has to have imperfection. Every one of us has to still have our growing and learning edges. There's a couple things I'll point out about this. One is that something that I know from experience in my own life, and also, I've got clients who are awakening teachers who've deeply awakened, and they also, when they come upon a new circumstance in life, like anyone else, they still have to learn. We're all always learning. I'm still learning. Oh, good Lord, all the time. I think I'd feel dead if I didn't, and I'm happy and glad that I'm learning all the time. And if I didn't have those edges of my development, then I wouldn't have anything more to learn. So I'm so grateful for every one of those shortcomings that helps me to learn. And I invite you to hold and honor your own shortcomings in the same way. They're just opportunities to learn. So the first thing here is that, yes, we're imperfect. All awakening teachers are imperfect, and we need to be imperfect because we're humans, and this is how we learn and grow. Here's another thing, is that every teacher and every teaching has a limitation. My second teacher, Ajay Shanti, really gave me the gift of talking about this when we were talking privately one day about the limitations of every teaching and every teacher. I had been reflecting on this previously, though, when I was walking in a forest, and I was just observing how everything in the forest has a limitation. That if the trees didn't have a limitation, one tree could take over the whole forest. So thank God for their limitation, right? Every teaching has a specialty. Every teacher has a specialty or set of specialties. And then where they end, right, where their limitation begins, that's where something else picks up. So now here's the third thing I want to point out to you today in this video, is that because of our limitations, that actually gives a lot of room for a whole community and ecosystem, to continue the metaphor of the forest, a whole ecosystem of awakening beings and beings who are cultivating, inspiring, and catalyzing, remembering our true nature and the awakening of humanity. When I feel into my incredible community of other healers and shamans and spiritual teachers, I feel so grateful that every single one of them exists. Some of them don't even express their work through particular healing modalities or satsang or whatever. Some of them are therapists, or they're CEOs, or they do all kinds of things in the world, but I am so grateful for them because they're beaming the truth, they're beaming light, they're beaming love into the world in their own unique way. So when you're coming in as a spiritual seeker, and you start to come in and intersect with all these different teachers, just keep in mind that this is a forest. This is a whole ecosystem of possibility. And where any spiritual teacher has a limitation, you can benefit from someone else, someone different, even the trees themselves, as your spiritual teacher. Here's the fourth thing I want to point out about the imperfection of spiritual teachers, is that here's an even more important way limitation serves us. The end of my limitation is the beginning of your truth. It's the beginning of your inner teacher. It's the beginning of your wisdom. Now, there can be overlap, right? Your inner wisdom may know already, for example, what I'm saying right now. It may resonate with that. But I know from experience that your inner awakened wisdom, what is already awake in you, even if you haven't fully received it yet, knows something I don't. That's actually part of the fun for me of doing these sessions and the classes that I do, is that I get to witness this amazing sparkle of wisdom and insight and truth and the way love moves in the world that's unique to every single person. Oh my God, without that, my work would be so boring. I probably wouldn't do my job. Actually, I'd probably go do something else. So I love and appreciate and need your inner teacher and your inner wisdom. And I really want to support you to see your awakened teachers as mirrors and kind of like invitations for your inner awakened wisdom and your teacher. But I'll get more to that in the third video. And there's a couple other things that I want to point out about working with teachers, which is that in this ecosystem of teachers, think of it this way. You want the right truth to meet the right illusion or confusion. Does that make sense? So any teacher has a particular teaching or a particular way of teaching that meets you in just the right way. And as long as a teacher has something that you need that's meeting you in the right way, then it's true to show up and receive their mirroring. Here's what you don't need. You don't need to put them on a pedestal. You don't need to think they're God. You don't need to think that they can do anything and everything. You don't need to think that they're perfect. What I want you to do instead is respect and honor the teacher for their experience, for whatever clarity and understanding and transmission of God that they have or they've experienced in their lives. But at the same time, and this is so important to me, I also want you to equally respect and honor and bow to what is already awake in you. Because if that inner awakened wisdom was not already coming forward, you could not recognize a teacher for a teacher. You can only see me as a teacher or a guide or a shaman because something in you already knows on some level everything that I'm saying. So bow externally and bow internally to yourself. It's so important to have both. I hope this has been helpful for you. Stay tuned for the next video in which I talk about the other side of the relationship. So I talked about the imperfection of awakening teachers. Next video I'll talk about you and the things that awakening students unconsciously, subconsciously bring to their teachers that are pretty much guaranteed to fail. Stay tuned and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you again for watching. Blessings for your journey.